Shanse, welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. Manitoba RCMP have found human remains along the banks of the Winnipeg River belonging to a person who went missing on November 3rd. RCMP had confirmed the remains to be that of Christian James Latander of Saugeen First Nation. The remains were found on Monday, November 11th, and the cause of death remains under investigation pending on autopsy results. The Assembly of Manitoba Chief said Latander was a cherished father and son, and his passing is a profound loss for his children and mother, Destiny Lehman. Powerview RCMP and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner continue their investigation. A man from the Shamattawa First Nation in northern Manitoba has died in Winnipeg, and the suspects involved in his death have yet to be arrested. On Friday, November 8th at around 8:45 p.m., Winnipeg police were called to the 500 block of Alexander Avenue for a report of an injured man. When they arrived, they found an injured man suffering from life-threatening injuries. Emergency medical care was provided. The man was then taken to hospital where he later died. The man has been identified as 23-year-old Jamal Eli Preston Miles from the Shamattawa First Nation, but lived in Winnipeg. Police say several people were involved in a verbal confrontation outside a home, which escalated to the man being seriously assaulted. The suspects fled before officers arrived. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. RCMP in Manitoba have been going door to door looking for any information related to the death of toddler Xavia Butler, whose remains were found in a barn in June. She's believed to have been between 1 and 2 years old at the time of her death. Xavia was never reported missing. RCMP Major Crime Services were in Ashern, Manitoba over the weekend, about 30 kilometers south of where her remains were found, hoping to find more information for what is now a homicide investigation. RCMP say they are looking for more accounts on when Xavia was last seen alive. So far, they are saying Xavia was alive for about a year before her remains were found. Anyone with information or photos of Xavia from after March 2022 are asked to contact the RCMP Major Crime Services tip line at 431-489-8112. Manitoba RCMP are also investigating a suspicious death in Norway House. On Tuesday, November 12th at around 7:30 a.m., Norway House RCMP were called to a home in the community for assistance. When officers and EMS arrived, they located a 23-year-old female who was deceased inside the home. RCMP say her death is suspicious in nature, and RCMP Major Crimes have now taken over the case and continue to investigate this week. A First Nation community in Saskatchewan recently struck a historic settlement with the federal government, addressing treaty benefits that went unpaid for a century and a half. The settlement will see the federal government pay the Thunderchild First Nation around $155 million in compensation for failing to fulfill a treaty agreement. That agreement included promises by Ottawa to provide farming necessities, which never came. Thunderchild First Nation is located about an hour northwest of North Battleford. In Manitoba, First Nation students pursuing an education in healthcare could soon get some help paying for their studies.
The most current stats show only 1.5% of nurses in Canada are First Nations, and fewer than 1% of doctors identify as Indigenous.
That's part of the reason the Southern Chiefs Organization, Business Council of Manitoba, and provincial government are partnering on an Indigenous Education Award program. It will provide $450,000 over 5 years to support 30 SCO member nation students with $3,000 scholarships each year. The goal is to assist with the cost of further education and address the healthcare needs in First Nation communities and across Manitoba.
First Nations healthcare professionals understand our people and our culture and are able to take a holistic approach to healthcare. We believe this will make all the difference in reducing the 11-year life expectancy gap.
The program, originally launched by the Business Council in 2001, has given out 3,300 awards totaling more than $8 million. An elder in the Samson Cree Nation in Alberta says the furnace in his new house has broken, and with winter rolling in, it's too cold to stay there. As APTN's Chris Stewart reports, he is looking for a place to stay warm until it can be repaired.
I don't know what to say sometimes. If only there were more healthier programs around here.
Elvis Wakino says his furnace stopped on October 20th. He had only moved into the brand new modular home a year ago. Elvis is a widower. He lives here by himself, and he is still grieving over the 2022 loss of his son. He loves his home, but with temperatures dipping, he is forced to use a tiny heater in the living room and bedroom to help heat his place. They don't do much. The floors are freezing. He wears his coat and slippers inside. He has no choice. He's been cold now for almost 3 weeks.
Sometimes I go sit in my vehicle and warm up, try and warm up, especially in the night. So if only there could be help, you know, I'd really appreciate it. But apparently, where is it?
He says Samson Housing has sent repair people, but a part needs to be ordered, and there is no timeline on when that part will arrive. In the meantime, winter comes closer.
This morning a guy came and he undid something there and it's all dismantled and everything. So, you know, and they told me try and get a place like, but where am I gonna get funds? Like to go to a motel or something. At least I'll be warm there.
You can't afford it.
I can't afford it.
He says he has talked to leadership on his furnace issue and finding a warm place to stay.
They don't listen. I talk to them, but they'll say, yeah, tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. I just don't feel good about. I really don't go there anymore.
Samson Communications told APTN there are people looking into the matter, and leadership is not available for comment.
If only I could at least get, you know, a room to get, you know, to at least to be warm in there until they could fix the problem here. But where's the help?
Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Samson Cree Nation, Alberta.
A Canadian delegation in Belgium has recently recognized the contribution of Canadians' Indigenous veterans. CTV's Derek Haggett has more on the story of the first Indigenous police officer in Canada, Alex Decoteau.
Alex Decoteau didn't live to see his 30th birthday, but what he accomplished in his short life was simply remarkable. Decoteau was killed in the First World War during the Battle of Passchendaele in 1917. He was 29. His great-grandnephew is part of a Canadian delegation in Belgium that are honoring Canadian Indigenous veterans.
It is heartwarming for the family. You know, like, I got a pretty big extended family, right? So the majority of them are Decoteaus, and over the course of the years, people didn't know there was any Decoteaus left.
Alex Decoteau was an Olympian and Canada's first Indigenous police officer. A plaque was unveiled in his honor near the location where he was shot and killed by a German sniper. Decoteau joined the Edmonton City Police in 1909 and patrolled the streets on his motorcycle. He was also a long-distance runner who represented Canada at the 1912 Olympic Games in Stockholm, Sweden.
He was involved in a lot of foot races overseas and just won a lot of medals, trophies, which are on display at the Edmonton Police Service headquarters.
Members of the Edmonton Police Service, who helped fund the memorial, were also honored to be in attendance.
There was nothing more honorable than, you know, being part of that history over in Belgium for Alex. He's still a member of the Edmonton Police Service, now we're service, but he's still a member. Once a member, always a member.
Canada's ambassador to Belgium said it's impossible to overstate the significance of Decoteau's decision to fight for his country.
At a time when many Indigenous people were denied full citizenship rights, Alex Decoteau volunteered not just for Canada, but for the ideals of freedom.
Rick Decoteau shared an incredible story about a gold pocket watch which had been given to his ancestor by King George V.
When Alex was killed in the war by a German sniper, the German sniper took the watch, and a couple days later, Alex's comrades killed the same sniper that took the watch, got his watch back. And that is now in the Edmonton Police Service showcase.
Helping to ensure that more than 100 years later, Alex Decoteau is still being remembered. Derek Haggett, CTV News, near Ypres, Belgium.
We now want to tell you about this week's web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, did you participate in any Remembrance Day ceremonies? Your answers are yes or no. Have your say on our website at www.aptnnews.ca. A public memorial for the late Justice Murray Sinclair was held over the weekend. That story when we come back in about 3 minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back. A national commemorative ceremony was held on Sunday for the late Murray Sinclair. T.R. Wheatley was there and put together this soundscape with some of the highlights and the dignitaries.
We honor a very special man, my father, the Honorable Murray Sinclair, Mija Nagijik Iban. So, Bojo Dinwe Magaduk, Nigon Webedam Nadishna Kosnam Agoshindo Dem Nimenwenda Momayayan. He was the first Indigenous person of almost every single room in a time in which Indigenous peoples were not welcome in courtrooms, in boardrooms, classrooms. That meant he spent a lot of time explaining, teaching, listening, and walking alongside a country that didn't always want to hear what he had to say.
What is my purpose in life? My purpose in life is in my name. The name
We now welcome the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister.
Murray always thoughtfully listened, even when he disagreed. A smile that would come every time he'd gently but firmly point out where I might be wrong. Fill in an element that I hadn't thought of, but really should have. Or, like a real teacher, encouraged me to just put a little more work into my proposed solution.
My name is Phyllis Webstad. I'm the founder of Orange Shirt Day. One of the things that the quotes I use in my presentations for him are, Canada will know it's close to reconciliation when Indigenous people no longer refer to their lives as a healing journey.
My name is Harold Cochran. Murray was general counsel at my law firm called Cochran Sinclair, and we changed it effective October 24th, so just before Murray left us. More importantly, he was a mentor to me, so I'm here to pay respects to the family. He's left a big shadow, big steps for us to follow, and I know at our law firm he's been involved in a lot of the class action work that we've been doing, all meant to address historical wrongs, and that's one of Murray's legacies.
Let truth be a key to freedom and bind you to the path that holds the light.
My name is Grandma Shingus, Jerry Shingus. Murray, that I want you to know that you gave so much love to the survivors, including myself. And today I want to bring that love to you and to your family.
I'm Dan Vandal. I'm the MP for St. Boniface, St. Vital, Minister of Prairies, Minister of the North. Well, I first met Murray around 1986 when I was working for the Mamawewichi Tata Center. He just led by example. The message I took away from my interactions with him was never be afraid to advocate what you believe in, and always, always, always be proud of where you come from.
We would like to now invite Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Mary Simon, Governor-General of Canada.
At the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, I was very emotional. Senator Sinclair came to me and comforted me with warmth and compassion. People felt a sense of trust and authenticity around him, that they could be who they are without judgment.
David Chartrand, President of Red Room Métis. His name will linger in the halls of courts, in the halls of governments and parliament. But you look at pride. You know, he brought pride back to our people without anybody realizing what was happening, as the change was happening. You've seen the people, Indigenous people, stand up and begin to defend their rights, begin to stand up for injustices.
My name is Cindy Woodhouse-Neepanak. I'm the Assembly of First Nations. I'm the National Chief. It's not always easy to talk about the history of this country, what has happened with residential schools, what has happened in the justice system. He spearheaded those head on, and he's changed the trajectory of our people. We're thankful to his family for sharing him with us.
I want to invite someone who has been very kind and generous to celebrate the life of my dad, Premier Wab Kinew.
Consecrated by a traditional pipe, Murray swore me in as the 25th Premier of Manitoba. And on that day, he shared those words with us. You have to learn to love the people, even when they don't love you. But I have to say, in the days since Murray drew his final breath, I've reflected that it's not just good advice for leaders. That is good advice for life.
Remember me when the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember
What a great story. Thank you, TR, for that. We'll be back with more stories right after these messages. Stay with us. Starting on the East St. John's 3, Charlottetown 1. Happy Valley Goose Bay -3, Cartwright -2. Saguenay 0, Quebec City 1. Ottawa 0, Peterborough 3. -4 in Sudbury Sioux Lookout, +4. Churchill -1, 0 in Thompson. 6 in Winnipeg, Princess Harbour 4. Regina -2, Saskatoon -2 as well. -6 in Stony Rapids, Meadow Lake -5. -8 in Fort Chipewyan, Grand Prairie -1. 11 in Lethbridge, Calgary 10. 12 in Vancouver, Campbell River 11. 4 in Prince George, Smithers 3. -4 in Whitehorse, Mayo -8. -16 in Wanty, Wrigley -13. -17 in Colville Lake, Inuvik -17 as well. -12 in Baker Lake, Chesterfield -2. And Arctic Bay -14, Igloolik -9. An Indigenous artist who is from Ontario but lives in Montreal was just awarded Canada's biggest prize over the weekend for contemporary visual arts. Nico Williams from the Aamjiwnaun First Nation in Ontario has been awarded the Sobey Art Prize and received the $100,000 prize money. Williams specializes in sculptural beadwork by taking everyday objects, and he then weaves his personal experiences into broadly relatable narratives. 6 artists in 6 regions were shortlisted for the prestigious award. 4 of them are Indigenous. The artists were chosen based on their artwork that speaks to our shared contemporary moments, both nationally and globally. Williams says he will use the money to expand his studio and admits he was both shocked and floored when it was announced he won.
I just remember feeling that rush of excitement come to me really quickly. And then I look out at the audience and I say, like, you know, a message for all the Bush kids out there, we're doing it. And I like raise my hands up. I thank my studio team. 6 members of us were there that evening. I also acknowledge that 10 years ago, Nadia Muir, who's Algonquin from Kitigan-Zibi, had won the award, and she also has a beadwork practice. So this was just like a wave of emotion and gratitude.
And the 5 other artists who were also shortlisted received $25,000 each. All of their art can be viewed in person at the National Gallery of Canada in Ottawa until April 6th. And finally for us, Mi'kmaq play called Winter Moons is debuting at the Neptune Theatre in Halifax, Nova Scotia. The play combines theatre and dance to tell a story about surviving the winter months. APTN's Angel Moore was at the rehearsal.
Winter Moons tells the story of Mi'kmaq women who care for a fire ember through the 3 moons of winter and how they survive the harsh winter in the deep forest pre-contact. Shalyn Jodri is from El Settuk, the Bear River First Nation. She wrote and directed Winter Moons, being inspired by elders' teachings.
And there's some of the ceremonies that some of our organizations and communities are trying to reclaim and revitalize. And so it just started to come to me that wouldn't it be beautiful if this was kind of all together in a performance, and that we're sharing these stories and teachings with an audience.
The play is told in Mi'kmaq and English and features legends, star stories, and contemporary dance that will provide a new understanding of Mi'kmaq culture.
I hope that the audiences feel inspired by our teachings, our stories, and also I hope that some young Indigenous people want to become performers.
The play brings a diversity of Mi'kmaq actors to the stage, including Desna Michael Thomas, who is from the Eskazoni First Nation. They started acting a few years ago while in high school and hopes more youth will join the theater.
Yes, I do. Kids from the res, get into this stuff, okay? I was a little res kid from CBG. Now look at me. I'm in Halifax living it up. If I can do it, y'all can do it.
Winter Moons is choreographed by Sarah Prosper, who is also from Eskazoni. Prosper collaborated with Jodri to combine traditional knowledge with dance.
You know, for people who have shared and elders who have come to join us during our learnings and our research has been very foundational to this story, to Winter Moons. And has transformed each of our characters, which we have kind of put a taste of our own words into everything we say. So yeah, it's really beautiful.
The contemporary dance adds a modern element to a traditional story to inspire the audience and actors like Michael Thomas, who grew up on the Powwow Trail.
And that basically gave me the okay to, you know, express myself in a way that I would always wanted to express myself. And the movement with dance, it's really healing, and it's very, it feels good in the soul.
Winter Moons is at Halifax's Neptune Theatre from November 12th to the 24th. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Decoteau, also known as Halifax.
Love that enthusiasm, Desna. Thank you. And that's your midday newscast for this Wednesday, November 13th. We'll be back again for your evening newscast. Make sure to join us there for more stories. For everyone at APTN National News, Masicho, Miigwech, hi hi. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again.